Alright, so I am just on the second part of our notes page. And when we're doing rotations, if you notice on all those circles I was drawing, I was always rotating counterclockwise, right? The opposite way of a clock. Why am I doing that? Well, when we take rotations on a graph, if you remember, we have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Remember you learned that in algebra? So whenever we're doing rotations, we're just going in order. So unless otherwise stated, we are always rotating counterclockwise. Okay? So for today, we're going to look at these 4 special rotations. We have 90 degrees, which just goes from here to here. 180 degrees, which goes directly opposite. 270 degrees, and 360 degrees, goes all the way around the circle. So just like with rotations, we're going to be figuring out some different rules. Okay, so let's look at this first one. First we started at the point G at 2, 3, and we moved it over to negative 3, 2. So now I want to figure out how we manipulated our x and our y to get negative 3, 2. So we started at x and y, and now we have negative 3, 2. What we did was we just took these values, switched them. So we started at xy, now we have yx. But then we also changed the sign of y. So we get negative y comma x. So what did we do? We switched the values and changed the sign of y. Okay? And that was a 90-degree rotation for 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. Next, we have 180 degrees counterclockwise rotation. So we started at 2, 3, and we ended up at negative 2, negative 3. Now what happened to our x and y values? Well, we simply just turned them both negative. So I started at xy, and now I have negative x, negative y. Okay? So all I'm doing is changing the sign of x and y. Okay? So both of them were positive, and now they're negative. If they started as negative, they're changing to positive. Now, we've already written these rules on your flashcard, so if you look, you can see that the counterclockwise rotation of 180 degrees goes from xy to negative x, negative y. Next, we're going to do 270 degrees. We start at 2, 3, and when we rotate around 270 degrees, we end up at 3, negative 2. So what happened to my x's and y's? How were they manipulated? Started at 2, 3, now I'm at 3, 2. So it looks like our values were switched. So we now have y, x. Then I also changed the sign of my x. So my rule is y comma x changes into y negative x. And what are we doing? We are switching the values and changing the sign of x. Okay, so these are our 3 different rules. And now we have 360 degrees. Well, if I turn around in a circle 360 degrees, don't I just end up in the same place? Yeah, so it's the same on a graph. If I rotate around a graph 360 degrees, I end up in the same exact spot. So if I started at 2, 3, I just end at 2, 3. Easy peasy. Now, I have all the rules for counterclockwise, but what about my clockwise? What if I ask for clockwise? Well, if I'm given a circle, and I'm going to rotate from here over to here, this is going to be a counterclockwise rotation of 90 degrees. How many degrees would it take for me to get there, but going clockwise? If I go all the way over here, first I go 90 degrees, then I go another 90 degrees, which is 180. And to get all the way over here, I have to go 270 degrees clockwise. This is trippy. So, if I want to figure out what my rotation for clockwise, 270 degrees, what my rule for 270 degrees clockwise rotation, I just look over here for my 90 degrees counterclockwise. So this is the same as 270 degrees clockwise rotation. So I can apply the same thing here. If I go 180 degrees counterclockwise, it's the same as 180 degrees clockwise. And if I look down here, I'm going 270 degrees around. So to get to the same place but clockwise, I just have to go 90 degrees. Same as 90 degrees clockwise. And then when I'm going around a circle 360 degrees one way is the same as 360 degrees the other way. We both always just end up back in the same place. And if you'll notice on your flashcards, we have written both clockwise and counterclockwise on the same sheet. So I'm going to stop this video and I'll start again on the next one.